we're all in agreement that the Japanese need to do more. We are all in agreement that the Europeans need to do more. But I hate to just tell everybody we are the leader of the world and we should put the pressure on them to do there is no question about it. But at the same time, we also have to rebuild the military. Look, I have a balanced budget plan that cuts taxes, reforms regulations, but also builds the military, puts $100 billion more in defense. We need to rebuild our defenses, but I must also tell you, as a longtime reformer of the Pentagon, we must reform that building. We can't have a weapons system take 22 and a half years. We have 800,000 bureaucrats working for DOD, performing bureaucratic functions when we ought to be putting these resources into strengthening the military. So we can do it all. We can do it all.
How would you deal with North Korea? Okay, well, first of all, people say that I whine a lot because I don't get time. I'm going to whine because I didn't get asked about taxes. I didn't get asked about Israel.
You said you're going to be fair to everybody. You didn't ask me about taxes. I had something to say about that.
I had something to say about that.
Now,
go ahead, this is your moment. Okay. We have a system of taxation in this country that is horribly wrong. You know, I never had an audit until I spoke at the National Prayer Breakfast. And then all of a sudden, they came in, they said, we just want to look at your real estate dealings. And then they didn't find anything. So they said, let's look at the whole year. And they didn't find anything. So they said, let's look at the next year and the next year. And they didn't find anything, and they won't find anything because I'm a very honest person. But the fact of the matter is the IRS is not honest, and we need to get rid of them. As far as Israel is concerned,
when I was there several months ago,
I talked to a lot of people. I couldn't find a single one who didn't think that we had turned our backs on Israel. You know, they are a strategic partner for us, but also recognize that we have a Judeo-Christian foundation. And the last thing we need to do is to reject Israel. Doesn't mean that we can't be people. We can always be fair to other people. But, you know, it's like when you have a child. You know, you want to be fair to all the children around, but you have a special attention for your own child. And now, as far as North Korea is concerned, you know, Kim Jong-un is an unstable person, but he does understand strength. And I think we have to present strength to him. We should be encouraging the alliance with Japan and South Korea. We should be encouraging the placement of the THAAD, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, because that seems to disturb not only the North Koreans but the Chinese as well. And we also need to have a much more robust naval presence in that area. And I think we need to be developing a strategic defense initiative because this man is going to have long-range missiles. He is going to have nuclear capabilities. We need to be able to defend ourselves. And lastly, we should make sure that he knows that if he ever shoots a missile at us, it'll be the last thing he ever does.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to continue national security. Go ahead, Hugh.
Thank you, Wolf. Mr. Trump, we are less than 24 hours away from a ceasefire in Syria that has been brokered between the U.S. and Russia. Do you support this ceasefire?
I really don't, because it's not working and the countries aren't agreeing to it and the rebels aren't agreeing and Syria is not agreeing to it. It's a meaningless ceasefire. I love the idea of a ceasefire. I love the idea with a total cessation. But it's not working, as you know very well. It's not working. If we can do all we want with Russia, but nobody else is adhering to it. So I certainly support it. I would certainly love it, but all parties have to be part of it.
Senator Cruz, your opinion on the ceasefire?
Well, look, we're certainly hopeful that the violence will cease, but there's reason to be highly skeptical. Russia has enhanced its position because of Obama's weakness in the Middle East, weakness in Syria. And, you know, as we're headed to November, we need to nominate a Republican candidate that can lay out a clear difference with both Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton on foreign policy. One of the real challenges with both Donald and Senator Rubio is that they have agreed over and over again with both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. So, for example, in Libya, both of them agreed with the Obama-Clinton policy of toppling the government in Libya. That was a disaster. It gave the country over to radicalism. It endangered America. Another example is John Kerry. John Kerry, Senator Rubio voted to confirm John Kerry as Secretary of State. I voted against him, and Donald Trump supported John Kerry against George W. Bush in 2004, gave him a check, and John Kerry has been the most anti-Israel Secretary of State this country has ever seen. His diplomacy has been a disaster, and if we nominate someone who agreed with John Kerry, Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton on foreign policy, we're not in a strong position to win the general election.
A response, Mr. Trump, then Mr. Rubio.
Again, I think I gave them both checks, to be exactly honest. I think they both like me very much. But the fact is, well, I think Bush did a hell of a bad job as far as that's concerned. You know it, and so do I.
But you gave him a check and called him to be impeached?
Yeah, no, this was before. The check came early. But let me just tell you, Syria, he's saying that I was in favor of Syria. He said I was in favor of Libya. I never discussed that subject. I was in favor of Libya. We would be so much better off if Gaddafi were in charge right now. If these politicians went to the beach and didn't do a thing, and we had Saddam Hussein, and if we had Gaddafi in charge, instead of having terrorism all over the place, would be, at least they killed terrorists, all right? And I'm not saying they were good because they were bad. They were really bad. But we don't know what we're getting. You look at Libya right now. ISIS, as we speak, is taking over their oil. As we speak, it's a total mess. We would have been better off if the politicians took a day off instead of going into war.
Yeah, a couple points. Number one, on the Libya situation, we didn't topple Gaddafi. The Libyan people toppled Gaddafi. The only choice before America that this president had to make is, does it happen quickly or does it take a long time? And I argued if it takes a long time, you're going to have rebel forces emerge like these radical Islamists that take advantage of the vacuum. And that's what happened. That's where the term lead from behind came. And that's the foreign policy that apparently Senator Cruz appears to agree with. On John Kerry, yeah, you know why? Because every day John Kerry wasn't appointed was another day Hillary Clinton was still in charge of the State Department. And she was absolutely horrible. I couldn't imagine that they were going to find somebody even worse than her. But this president never ceases to amaze. And the last point I would make on South Korea. Now, this is important. Because we're asking to be commander-in-chief. Donald is asking to be commander-in-chief. And he's saying these guys need to do more. South Korea contributes $800 million a year to that effort, and Japan contributes as well. And here's why our commitment to that regional security is so critical, Donald. Because if we walk away from them, both Japan and South Korea will become nuclear weapons powers. They can do that very quickly. And that's what they will do if the American defense agreements withers away, which is why we have to rebuild the military, but why we can't walk away from our Asia-Pacific defense status.
Mr. Trump.
I never said walk away. I wouldn't want to walk away. I want them to pay us much more money. We cannot afford to subsidize a lot. I'll negotiate a lot more money than you'll ever get. But as far as John Kerry is concerned, there has been no tougher critic of this man. I think he negotiated one of the worst deals in the history of our country, the Iran deal, where they get their $150 billion and all of the other things that take place. It is a disaster for this country, and speaking of Israel, it's a disaster for Israel. I'm no fan of that.
Hold on, Governor. Senator.
You know, it's interesting. Donald just said that he never came out in favor of toppling Gaddafi in Libya. Well, he stated that in an interview that will be on our website, tedcruz.org. You can see and hear the exact words from Donald's mouth, and I assume when he sees that interview, maybe he forgot about it, that I assume Donald will apologize where he sees that he said exactly that. With regard to John Kerry, I will say John Kerry's foreign policy has been a disaster for decades. That's why I voted against him when he came up. And the fact that Donald Trump would write him a check and support him against George W. Bush shows exceptionally poor foreign policy judgment. And I'll give one more example in Israel. When the Obama administration canceled civilian air flights into the nation of Israel and hawked us down on them, I publicly asked, is this an economic boycott against Israel? The next day, Michael Bloomberg, another New York billionaire, got on a plane, a commercial flight, and flew to Israel from London. Together, the heat and light that was put on the State Department was so great that within 36 hours, they lifted the ban on air flights into Israel during that entire battle. And indeed, during every battle on Israel, the natural question is, where was Donald? If this is something he cares about, why has he supported anti-Israel politicians from Jimmy Carter to Hillary Clinton to John Kerry for 4 decades? If you care about Israel, you don't write checks to politicians who are undermining Israel. Instead, you stand and support the national security of America and the alliance.
There's a critical point that needs to be made here.
Governor, we attack Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump has a right to respond.
Well, look, my response is very simple. There is nobody on this stage that has done more for Israel than I have. Nobody. You might say, you might talk, your politicians all talk, no action. I've been watching it all my life. You are all, from what I've seen up here, I mean, first of all, this guy's a joke artist, and this guy's a liar. You have a combination of factors. He can't do it for the obvious reason, and he can't do it because he doesn't know how to tell the truth. Other than that, I rest my case.
This is a typical thing. One at a time.
Governor Kasich, you have the floor. You will have a response, but I promised Governor Kasich he could respond.
Can somebody attack me, please?
Wolf.
There's something I want to point out something here today that is so critically important about how the Obama administration has really done such a ridiculous, feckless job here in foreign policy. First of all, we should have been supporting the rebels long ago. They could have taken Assad out, and because we did nothing, the Russians are now in, and they're sitting in the catbird seat. We should have been helping them. I'm thankful that the aid trucks are finally getting into Syria, but the fact is, had we acted, we would have solved that problem. Now let's talk about Libya. Libya didn't go down because it was some people revolution. Hillary Clinton, Samantha Power, and all these other people convinced the president to undermine Gaddafi. They undermined him, and now they have created a cesspool in Libya. And let me just say to you, we have ISIS beginning to get a foothold in Libya. We're going to have to deal with it. There are not many major on the coast. Mostly it's desert, but it's a problem. Then we have ISIS in Syria, and we have ISIS in Iraq. Because this administration has not had a strong and firm foreign policy, we are going to inherit. One of us here is going to inherit a total mess, and we're going to have to work our way out of it.